Well. The Boston Celtics.
How about those Boston Celtics?
We're here first on the floor. I'm Jake Eisenberg, joined by Dan Greenberg, Greeny from Barstool Sports. I mean, the Boston Celtics just beat every bodily fluid out of the Miami Heat today. It was a pretty insane game, to be honest. Like
on both sides, really.
Yeah.
Like on both sides. You know, it was not for the faint of heart for certain stretches. That's for sure,
dude. Like if you told me there's so many stats here that you could tell me before the game that would make me think either the Celtics or the Heat won. Like if you told me before the game the Heat shot 47 threes and shot 51% on them, I'd be like, oh fuck. We've
lived through that dark magic. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And we've leveled up to the point where not even a 50% on 47 attempts could even get the lead below double digits. I think maybe it got below.
I think it got to 9. I think it got to 9 at
brief moment.
Once, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Brief moment, but yeah, this was complete belt to ass. Like
it was annoying early because like finally we see the Celtics start a game off where they're not missing every shot they take. And it just so happens that on the other end, the Heat, like we're matching you shot for shot. But then I think it was probably right around like the 5 or 6 minute mark of the first quarter. Tatum woke up a little bit. They pulled out that initial separation, and then they dropped the hammer. 53 points. That was as peak of a Missoula ball performance as we've had probably in 4 years. Like this was the vintage. You would hope there was maybe a little bit better defense, but offensively, this was like 96 total shots, 44 threes. You shot over 50% or close to 50%. You probably dominated in paint points. You took care of the basketball. You had 34 assists. Like that is the Missoula ball formula. And shocker, you blew a team out on the road.
This team just has a lot of ways to kill you. And when they're hitting like they are tonight, there's nothing you can do to stop them. Like that first quarter when the Heat are going off, I'm like, okay, just stay attached. They'll cool down at some point. One, they didn't cool down really at any point. You just went to the level that you really just don't ever see. 11 for 15 in the first quarter, 53 points. Sam Hauser, really great to see him have like this is on the high end outcome. This is like when he's had 10 threes in a couple of different games against the Hawks, against the Wizards. Comes out today 5 for 3 in the first quarter.
He owed us this though. He owed us a game like this, given
after the Thunder game.
I think it was was it the OKC game or something? He just missed like 4 straight wide open threes, like just very un-Sam Hauser like things. But when it got down to 9, it was Hauser who made a couple big shots in the fourth, but this is the level of shooting. And it's interesting because, even with how he was sort of struggling and Baylor playing so well and Walsh showing flashes, you would think, okay, like, is Joe going to tweak the starting lineup? I think this was the example and the living proof of why when Jayson Tatum was playing, you start Hauser just because of the shooting and the spacing and what he can, because that, is what unlocks them another level offensively, is when they can't help on the Jays driving lanes. And if they do, Sam Hauser shoots 40 plus 3 on open corner threes.
Yeah, like he was the 5 for 7 from 3. Obviously, you love that, but he also had 4 2-pointers, and like it was right in that stretch where the Heat were coming back, and it was like they were running him off the line, comfortable, one dribble, pull up.
Right.
There was also some like late shot clock, heavily contested, kind of fading to his left, and we've never really. I kind of thought that there was a chance that he would maybe unlock a little bit more to his offensive game, like a la Duncan Robinson, as far as dribble handoffs and a little more getting downhill. But if we've seen any development, it's kind of that inside the arc.
It's a tweener game. Yeah, the tweener game.
Really athletic enough to challenge at the rim, but it's just like he's tall enough and his release is really high. So you get downhill a little bit, and then you just get a little bit of space, and it's high enough where he's such a good shooter that he seems to be able to knock these shots down. So,
and it's something that he's going to have to do, because teams are going to run him off the line. Like that is, whether it's OKC, whether it's the Knicks, whether it's the Cat, like every team you see is not going to just let Sam Hauser catch rhythm, right? They're going to say, even if he does, if he beats us from 2, that's not going to hurt the same way as a 5 for 5 from 3 like he was. So now you just got both. You got the scenery in between game, and you got his quick catch and shoot, and just full confidence too, right? No hesitation.
Yeah.
You have to love how he played off the 2 J's. And again, this is the formula. It's like you choose your death. Do you want death at the rim by one of the J's, or do you want death by threes because you're leaving 40% shooters? You pick.
There's no good answer to defending this team right now. And I love that we started with Sam Hauser. You can really go up, and it's one of those games where you can kind of go up and down the roster, but Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, the Double J masterclass. We haven't had the Thunder game wasn't obviously as far as quality of win, you don't really get higher quality of win than that clutch win against the defending champs who are on pace for 65 wins again, who have won 12 in a row. And the Jays are awesome down the stretch again. But in Miami, just complete and utter dominance from both of them. Jaylen Brown, 43 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists, only 1 turnover on 67% true shooting. Jayson Tatum, I'm going to start with 37 minutes and 15 seconds.
Season high.
The biggest season high. That might be the biggest note of them all. 25 points, 18 rebounds, 11 assists. I know you've missed these stats, Screeny.
And I don't even care that 12 or maybe even 15 of those 18 were non-contested defensive rebounds. I just love that. I just love that he can pad his stats that way because he has to make up for 60-something games. So, it's not like everything is a highly contested defensive rebound, but we all knew
that's true of everyone there.
He's their best rebounder. So it's just to see him with that complete stat line is just, it's like they never left, really. Yeah, that's what it felt like.
It really, I know, the fact that you can have a game like that tonight, just as soon as he's come back, is not something that I thought was remotely fair to expect of him at this point. And the fact that we're able to get it already. And every rebounder that puts up big numbers, a huge percentage of them are
uncontested.
Right. But a lot of them are not uncontested. And I know you've missed these types of stats. 3rd player in franchise history to have 25, 15, and 10 joining Larry Bird.
Listen, you do something again, guys. Listen, you do something that puts you in a sentence with Larry Bird. It's a big deal. I can't just pretend like it's not. And if we're being honest, he probably should have had 30. He got boned a little bit with a whistle. He easily should have had 30, 32, which is just insane when you think about just the stretch that he's on these last 3. It really does feel like he never got hurt. He's playing the exact same way. The jumper's as good as ever. His wrist is as healthy as ever. It's the only thing he's not really doing is really giving full effort and challenging defensively at the rim. That's it. But I don't give a shit.
I don't care at all. Yeah.
Don't do that and just do everything else. And that's more than acceptable. But the fact that every game we're saying, I can't believe he's this good this early, just tells us this is just who he is. We're starting to get the consistency part. He's really only had probably 2 duds, right? Of his games back. Maybe even
Grizzlies
1.5.
Wolves.
Maybe even 1.5 duds.
Yeah.
So to be he's playing at his normal all NBA first team level, and you're now getting that on a consistent level. The only what is there to be unhappy? It's just mind-boggling that this is actually happening.
I know you said that. It almost kind of made me recoil. He's his first, because it's it just feels unfair to even put that expectation on him.
18 and 12.
But he's doing it. So, tonight, obviously, the 25, 18, and 11 is absurd. 37 minutes. Last 4 games now, going back to the Thunder game, 26, 12, and 8 on 56% true shooting. That's just subjective.
Is that not first team All NBA Jayson Tatum?
There's nothing else. That's objectively it. And the defensive, I think the defensive intensity tonight was good, and it was similar. I think we talked about it after I don't remember, the mind's blurred, but after the Wolves game, you got the 2 days off between that and
before
Thunder
the
game.
Thunder. Yep.
And again, after the Charlotte game, he got a day off with the Hawks back to back, and increased the minutes, I thought that his wind conditioning and defense looked better again, which makes sense. And there's also an element to regular season Jayson Tatum did kind of not, challenge every shot at the rim
Right.
to begin with. It was more of a playoff thing anyway.
Right. But what's encouraging is since he got back, he's rebounding like playoff Jayson Tatum.
Yeah.
Right. Like, what do we always say? Once we get to the playoffs, you can pencil Tatum in for 30, 10, and 7, 30, 10, and 8. Like, that's when you know he's taking shit seriously. He's playing with massive effort. And it makes me think back to the post game he had with Abby Chin, where he's like, I know I may be rusty, but I'm playing my ass off. It's like, yeah, I can tell that by your rebounding numbers, because when you rebound like you have been, that's when we know that you're fully engaged. What I want to ask you, are you noticing, do we maybe have a little bit of an early season Jaylen Brown mid-range development with Tatum's offensive arsenal? I looked it up. Before tonight, he was only shooting around 35%. But I'm looking at some of it from the mid-range.
On the season?
On the season, on his 10, 11 games. So small sample.
Okay.
And I'm looking at some of these jumpers he's making today, and I'm thinking if he can get up to 42, 43% on mid-range, that opens up so many more options for him during a playoff series where maybe, defenses are tougher on him, more physical. He may not be able to get to the rim. Who knows? If he can now have somewhat of a because really he's only been a high 30s, low 40s mid-range shooter basically his entire career. It's just not part of his arsenal. But I don't know. There's like 3 or 4 of these games back where I'm looking at him and it looks as good as I remember it ever looking, I guess is my point.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Like, what if that's just something that he's adding to what if that's the injury addition is a 45% mid or 44% mid-range jumper?
It's definitely a great hopium angle when you think about, okay, what are the types of things that he could do for large parts of his recovery? It's like work on his jump shot, stationary stuff, just like handle and skill stuff would have been a big part of the recovery. And I remember thinking the same thing was going to happen when Gordon Hayward came back.
Right.
But like he clearly mentally was never really able to recover, plus like all the other like random injuries that happened. But
I'm thinking I want to see how many he took, because I would bet if we went back and looked at every one of his possessions, okay, he took 13 threes, which is still a lot, but it felt like there were times where instead of taking the three, he put the ball on the ground, on the floor, attacked into that 10 to 12 foot range, spun or, created separation with his shoulder and then went up. And it's just something I'm just like putting a pin in that of like, if he can get some of that osmosis from Jaylen's mid-range game, especially early in the season mid-range game from Jaylen, I think you're looking at a version of Tatum that we've never seen before.
Yeah, I hope you're right. It'd be wonderful. And the way things are going, why not add another skill development to Tatum right now?
Because think about it. He's still in his like middle of early-ish NBA prime years. So like there are things theoretically, like remember when LeBron could just like never shoot and then he hit his prime and he could make threes? Like, what if there's always still growth? Jaylen Brown has shown us that
I was going to say
your game 10 years in. So it's like, why would I think someone who's as dedicated and hardworking as Tatum wouldn't maybe be able to add that element, that he hasn't had?
I think it would be fair if you asked Tatum to be like, do you expect to get better at X, Y, and Z over the next 1, 2, 3, 5 years? He'd be like, I'd be very disappointed in myself if that didn't end up happening. And Jaylen's improved handle in traffic. I mean, we'll get to Jaylen as well. Don't you worry, Jaylen Brown. You deserve it as well. There was like a play tonight, a drive on Pell Larson where Tatum just he's driving statistically as much as he was last year. Doesn't feel quite as forceful to me. And again, now you start just playing tricks in your brain at this point, trying to like compare last season to this season. Tatum,
but it's like 10.1 drives versus 9.7 drives, 56% on drives to like 53%. It's like such a marginal difference and the sample is so small. It's for all intents and purposes, it's like the exact same,
Yeah.
approach.
Statistically, we're pretty much there already. Key in the chats, I don't think he's tried to dunk since his debut. That's definitely not true. He had an awesome dunk against the Hornets.
Yeah, he had the two-hander
First play
one
of the
against
game.
the Hornets. Yeah.
But that, I mean, there hasn't been a ton, but like I think that that'll come. But yeah, that drive really stood out to me. And the assists. Now, I know Bill Simmons on his pod recently was saying like maybe Tatum watching has led to like this playmaking growth. I do think it's important to remember that he had kind of made the playmaking leap
Already.
the back half of last season, and post All-Star break, I went back and looked at it last season. He was averaging 7 assists. He was 27, 9, and 7. And that was kind of like the first time he leveled up to like the 7+ assist.
The LeBron, you can say it, the LeBron territory. Like 27, 7, and 7. Like that's the leap that he made. There's a difference. You look at some of the great wings, fours. You have Durant, Kawhi. Like they're always around, 4 or 5 assists, right? For I think Tatum's previous career high one was like 4.9 or something like that, and then he started to take that leap. He's the best passing wing since LeBron James. He's the closest he had to the LeBron James model. The way he can read the floor, the fact that he's so tall, he can see over defenses. He's seen everything, so he doesn't panic like he used to. I think the leap happened in the bubble once they got back.
That was the first one.
Break. And that was like, that was the he's reading defenses differently leap. Now you're getting he has every pass in the toolbox type leap. And it's just, and he only had a 28% usage, right? Because his passing obviously isn't recorded in that stat. But I thought he did a great job of balancing his field goals with his playmaking. And this is the type of all facet of the game impact that just makes him a top 5 player in the NBA.
Yeah. Yeah. The passing, the playmaking, the willingness to get off the ball. Like it's not like the traditional Luka stuff. And I think when you mention like LeBron, I remove Luka because like he's wing size, but he's not a wing. Larry Bird, I know RJ just mentioned, but those are the types of.
He's a little bit of a different he was more of a magician passer than Tatum is like a floor manipulator. Yeah. Like Bird was like, I'm going to show you some shit you didn't even know was possible because I'm the only person on earth who saw this play develop. Before everybody else. So it's
he's
a little bit of a different approach.
But yeah, I mean, these are fantastic conversations to be in and not hyperbole. Again, going back to the stat of Tatum joining Cowens and Bird in 20. It's like, and that's when they add like the 3-point makes club. That's when I kind of ignore it because they're kind of manipulating the stats. When you just go points, rebounds, assists, the only guys to do it, Larry and Cowens, like that's the type of stuff where
not going to complain. Not going to complain.
Yeah, so he was, I thought, magical tonight. The playmaking, I think, was already there, but the fact that it's still there and the more confident he gets with the ball in his hands, getting downhill, reading the defenses, like it was just effortless. He was directing traffic, very simple passes, play like pick and roll.
I also think it helps that they've clearly solved the SPO defense. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like they've seen
the zone.
Yeah, they've seen it so many times. Like the little dish that he had to Queta, like that was so like flawless and just seamless in his processing. Those were things that like killed them in 23, killed them in the bubble. Like the processing of how often were we all just screaming at our TV, like send someone to the nail, like put Jayson Tatum at the nail and you'll break the zone. And they just never would do it. And the second that they went into it tonight, what happened? He went to the nail, he caught it. The help came and immediately kicked it to Queta, and they diced it up with, zero chaos, zero, indecisiveness. It was just, I think the reps that they've had against that is why it looked the way it did today.
It just took them a lot longer to, so I'm studying a lot of like brain cognitive stuff for my teaching degree. And like, it took them a lot longer than it should have to move it from their working memory to their long-term memory. But eventually with enough practice, they see it and it just comes straight back to them and they're like, okay, bang, bang, bang. Good. Like you want to let us get to the middle of the floor, collapse, create, catch and shoot threes. Good luck to you. Peyton Pritchard's going to knock down 3 threes and the lead's back to 15.
Right. And I would say the same thing was Jaylen with his drives and protecting the ball against the Miami reaching. Like he was so much better with that tonight. And I think, coming off what we saw with him against the Hawks and his ball security and Dyson Daniels, you're thinking like, okay, the Heat are going to try the same approach, but it didn't matter what matchup they picked. They found the mismatch. They seal hunted, and they showed when the Jays are at this level, if you don't have size and strength on the perimeter, you're not going to beat them in a basketball game.
No, man, it's just good luck with playing these guys. And again, another team that's been playing like pretty well. I watched them against the Sixers a couple of days ago, which was an impressive down the stretch. Apologies to Jaylen Brown. It's been probably too long before getting into you tonight, but 43 points on 67% true shooting, and like a little bit of stat padding towards the end, but like
I was just gonna say, don't even care. It's the same way I wouldn't
from the jump.
I didn't give a shit when Bam tried it for his 83. Yeah. Like when you're within range of a 40 ball, I want you spamming every possession to get it. Like,
and no one can get mad if it's against the Heat. That's the thing. You can't get mad if it's against the Bam team. But like he did his damage early. 20 points in the first quarter, 8 for 11. And I mean, to see him do this type of performance after the Hawks performance, which was arguably one of the worst games he played all season. This is the bounce back Celtics, like Jaylen Brown, Mazul talked about it, like the competitiveness, the mindset. I knew Jaylen was going to come out, and it was from the jump. It was all levels, punishing mismatches, making the right reads. Like, and it's not that we were worried about it, but the chemistry part of, Tatum's in the corner, yada, yada. Tatum's just like, yep, here's the ball. Here's the ball. Here's the ball. Here's the ball. You're cooking everyone every which way. I'm very happy to let you do your thing. Also, Tatum ended up getting in foul trouble early, so he ended up coming out, which, by the way, he had those 2 fouls and then never committed another one. Another great thing. But Jaylen Brown, I think he's enjoying the space that Jayson Tatum's creating.
You think? Like, that's what never made me – I was always so confused when you hear people, they're going to have to change how they play. They're going to have to adjust, yada, yada. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, what has Jaylen Brown really thrived in this season? Getting to his spots – getting into the paint, getting into the mid-range. If you just take a second and think about it conceptually, why would adding a player who is now going to demand attention and help create more space for Jaylen Brown, why would that then mean he has to then do less of the things that he has succeeded in? So it's like, even if you're thinking, like, there's just no logic behind anything, it accentuates all the things he's thrived in and made a leap in this season. And that is what we've already known for the last decade. The whole point of the Tatum and Brown duo is they elevate and accentuate each other to a championship level. Yeah. Like, that's the whole formula.
Like, they were already awesome together, and then Jaylen Brown got like markedly better. Yeah. And why would that do anything than amplify the already incredible relationship and partnership that they've built? This is the best duo in the league. Like, I know the other argument is the Jokic Murray thing. That just has more to do with how good Jokic has been and then how good Murray has been. The way that they break you down, all the different types of defenders they can attack, all the different ways they can defend, the rebounding, the suppressing of the turnovers. When you put them together, it's just such a fucking ridiculous combination to deal with. Right. The size and the length is like out of control.
Because they're scalable. They can allow you to play with versatility in your flexible lineups. You can go big and play, them at the 2 and 3 if you need to. You can play Tatum at the 5 if you want to go small. I think that's what makes them different from a Jokic and a Murray, right? Because you can't really scale up Jamal Murray all that much, right? Like, you don't want him guarding 4s. You can't play him as a big and a small ball lineup, but he'll help you if you go small or, playing off Jokic, etc. But, if he was in Jaylen Brown's shoes all year without Tatum, I don't know if they have, 50 something wins right now. And I just think what makes this version of Tatum Brown so unique and so enticing is the leap that Jaylen has made. Because now it's like I've always felt that the beauty of them is on any given night, either guy can be the best player on the floor, regardless of who's in the game. That's what makes them special. Now you're getting it like you have two of those guys that are also playing the best basketball of their lives, which is a version we've never seen, right? We've seen this version of Tatum before in the Tatum and Brown duo. We've never seen this version of Jaylen in the Tatum and Brown duo. And so far, it looks as good as it's ever looked.
Yeah, a couple guys that can put up 68, 21, and 18 with 3 turnovers combined.
You know, I think it was Dick Light. So this is the first
every
time.
Position.
This is the first time they've ever done that together in a game. 68 points, 30 rebounds.
Yeah, it's a ton of rebound. And the assists, because Jaylen's assists have really come up. Like that's a very clear improvement as well. I watched a video on Ben Taylor from Thinking Basketball breaking down the Thunder game and Jaylen, and they hit it on the Thinking Basketball podcast about how he's improved. But he's leaped directly into like surefire All NBA and bit like in the conversation now between like him, Kate, and Kawhi for first team. Another guy that's playing the best basketball of his life, Neemias Queta, really jumped out to me today. Yep. And I know Bam ended up having like a 29-point game. That was mostly because he went 5 for 10 from 3. I thought Queta was awesome, and he made a bunch of tough jump shots. Like, back to the whole thing, like the Heat offensively, the shot making was crazy from them as well. The fact that the Celtics blew them out, despite that, is a testament to how well they played as well. But I thought defensively, Queta was fantastic. Still grabbed 3 offensive rebounds. But the thing that really popped to me, the duo of Queta and Tatum and how they were dominating the defensive glass, I was like, this is just
playoff rebounding. That's what it felt like.
I was like, good luck. And then, like, you need to get those rebounds. And against a team that I've been scared about is the Knicks because of their front court and their size. Queta's just a significantly better rebounder than Kristaps and Horford.
It's really going to be I'm really interested to see who plays in that Knicks game, right? Because that's like the final test I think we need to see. We saw it against OKC. We saw it against the Cavs. We saw it, against, Charlotte, who's been playing well. But like you said, I'm with you. The offensive rebounding of the Knicks is what has killed the Celtics in that matchup, right?
Yeah,
it's giving up second chance points, dagger OG threes off Mitchell Robinson offensive rebounds. Like, you need to end those defensive possessions cleanly. I want to see what Tatum looks like in that, and I want to see how the Tatum and Queta duo, like you said, matches up. Because the Knicks will play, Robinson and Cat at the same time, in some cases. So,
yeah, so that's definitely in the back of my mind. But watching it tonight, obviously the Heat aren't the same offensive rebounding force. But watching like a few possessions when they were both right there going for rebounds, and like the size and the width of both of them, and like the athleticism of Queta, just a guy that they did not have with Horford and Porzingis last season. And I've been as impressed with anybody as Queta, but I wanted to have a look at the numbers. I'm not sure if it's updated from today, but Tatum and Queta on the court defensively, they have 109.2 defensive rating, which is a 6.8 swing with them off, and that would be good for second best defense in the league. And then the offensive rebounding percentage, opponent wise, is 10.6% points better with those two on than off. So it's like, which is not a
And also a team like Miami that's playing Bam at center that only has Khalil Ware as size. Like, that's a matchup I expect Neemias Queta to dominate. He's been doing that all year. If you're a smaller team that doesn't have a big bruising center, he's probably going to get whatever he wants. And I just think his discipline was really good today. Bam could not get him to bite on a single shot fake, it felt like. So I think that, even though, like you said, he had 29 points, I felt like Queta was right there challenging most of his jumpers. I'll live with him making 5 threes. Like, that's okay with me. That's where he kills you, is plays around the rim, pick and roll, paint jumpers. I thought Queta was great at limiting those and contesting even the ones that he did make. It's just, this is the type of leap. Brad's, I think it was in February, he said we would not be having the season we're having if Nemi didn't take the leap that he is making. And he's a surefire starting caliber center, and you pay him $2.8 million.
Yeah. I mean, can't say enough about the find, the development, of him, and he's just so important. And only 3 fouls tonight again.
And he's available. He never misses time. He's available every night.
I know. I was like the thumb sprain was a clear rest thing, obviously off the injury report. Something we didn't mention on Jaylen, because last time I spoke to you, we had a bit of a freak out.
We're freaking out, right?
Thing.
Yeah.
He looks pretty good.
I know. So next time, can we please use sprained
any other body part?
No. Do not even mention Achilles, because I'll be honest, I thought I would be watching out for it more. I didn't really think about it. I felt like he looked as explosive as ever. So like, I'm okay with that. Like I'm over that initial fear. I just, please, on his next rest day, like, can we just not mention the Achilles or the calf? Put him on Al Horford's left injury or left toe sprain and call it a day.
I agree. Paul in the chat, do you think the Celtics will still win the chip, even though they didn't get 40 wins before 20 losses? I will say, Brini, when you look at the exceptions to the rule, adding a guy like Jayson Tatum certainly looks like an exception to the rule.
It's the 1994-1995 Houston Rockets. That's
they traded for Drexler, except they traded for
Drexler.
Tatum.
And Drexler gave them 21-7-5 as a Rocket.
Yeah.
Tatum probably right now is probably close to 20-10-5, 20-10-4. Similar type deal. He made third All-NBA that year, so he was a top 15 player. I would say Tatum is playing like a top 15 player right now. It's just while they didn't hit it, they are following the blueprint of one of the 4 exceptions, which are the 94-95 Rockets.
Yeah,
and
21
recent former champion, they had won it the year before. Celtics won it in 24. It's like that is their path, because otherwise I would say no, I would not think just per NBA history. No. But they are fitting the bill of a very specific exception to the rule.
Yeah, 21-10-5 in 31 and a half minutes already. And we've already covered the way that's trending. But yeah, like this, I would be so mad if I was the Pistons or the Knicks or the Cavs.
Or the Cavs.
Like, this is like, oh, okay. At least we have the Celtics kind of out of the way. And not only were they not out of the way with the team that emerged this season, but then Jayson Tatum comes back and is currently having, Kevin Durant's recovery from the Achilles, he came back and was still incredible, but he came back in 18 months. He decided
the numbers are similar. The difference is Durant shot like 55% from the floor.
He's an alien from a shot making perspective. Right. That's just stupid.
But I think he was around, 20, like the stretch that Tatum has been on these last 4 or 5 games where it's like 26, 27 a game. Like that's what KD was doing, coming back 18 months after. So it's like, I don't know if he was putting up triple doubles or averaging 10 rebounds and playing the level of defense that we're seeing, but they're obviously the 2 most successful Achilles. The way Tatum is pacing, it's like he could then become the face of Achilles rehab.
Well, so Durant came back like halfway through his first season with the Nets and played 35 games before the playoffs. But if you remember, that was arguably like his best ever playoffs. It was only 2 rounds. But he averaged 34, 9, and 4
Jesus Christ.
on 51, 40, 87. What a
he couldn't shoot 90? What a bum.
Loser bum.
That's
0 points in overtime, though, in the game 7. So
that is so insane.
But yeah, so like, but there is a huge difference to me. Like Tatum coming back in 10 months versus the 18 months. But this is just great news for like general sports people, athletes, fans. Like, have they solved Achilles?
It would certainly give me tons of hope as a Pacers fan, as a Blazers fan. Like, really? And even Drew Smith today on the Heat came back relatively. And I think he like leads the NBA in steals or some shit like that. So
he's having a career.
I think it would be great if this was kind of like ACLs, where it's no longer a career, altering injury, but also. I think for it to not be, you have to be built like Jayson Tatum with that mentality and Durant with that mentality and attacking your rehab. And if that's the case and you get the quicker procedure, all the new medical stuff, like why can't it just be not a run of the mill injury, but something that isn't as devastating as it has been for most of our lives.
Yeah, it's just really fucking cool to see, and from a Celtics and just a broader perspective as well.
I'll tell you what, though, I'm looking at Tatum's feet on every jumper that he takes.
But that's not different.
Terrified that
That's
someone
the same.
like I don't even watch the ball when he's shooting. I'm looking right at the landing zone on every jumper that he takes. It's a problem.
That is, but yeah, that's not different. That's the same.
I know, but now I'm like even more worried about it given what has happened.
Yeah. But so I mean, we don't have to belabor the game too much. We'll get out of here in a second. Derek White, not a huge statistical game, but like that stretch in the back half of the second quarter before the first half ended, where he was just like blocking how many? He had 3 blocks in the end. No, 1 block. What? That's wrong. Ridiculous.
I felt like he had like a help side block. I don't know if
like
they gave him a block
at
the end of the half, but if I was a scorekeeper, I definitely would have.
Ridiculous.
And I thought he probably had 2 or 3. So that's a little messed up. They only gave him 1.
Yeah, but like that stretch late in the game where he was just flying around, getting back taps, rebounding, making passes, blocking shots, defending everything, like saving the ball. It was just like a vintage, like Derek White is there's 10 Derek Whites on the court at the same time. It felt like
it was almost like when you add in Pritchard's efficiency and big threes off the bench, Hauser's shooting, the way the Jays played, it's like Baylor being a menace, and making threes. It was like every player who touched the floor played their optimal performance, right? The same way this whole season has been defined by all these guys playing to their ceiling. Tonight is what it looked like when everybody plays to their ceiling, and it looks like a team that can win the championship. Like we know what that looks like. We've seen it. This is hitting like 2024 type impact in just my overall view of how they're playing.
It's going a little bit under the radar because of the Tatum return, but Pritchard, as a general for the season, has taken a leap as like an individual creator and isolation player. But lately, like his last, 6 games here, he's averaging 20 points per game on 50, 52, 100.
On high volume with threes too. Probably like 7 or 8
a game in 31 minutes.
Yeah.
That's tough. And like ridiculous shots. Like
I know,
like pull everything. Yeah.
But honestly, it's like I expect him to make all these shots that he takes. Like I've never said to myself, oh man, I wish Peyton didn't shoot that. Because like there isn't a shot he takes that I'm not confident that he can make. And it's why he has probably the greenest green light on the team, and he's not a J. Like that's what's so crazy.
It's true.
It's like he has more of a green light, I feel like, than any player on the team.
I love that his green light, like he gets like a supercharged green light in the last minute of every quarter. It's like when they get into 3 for 2, 2 for 1 territory. I know Nick NBA posted a clip on it after the Charlotte game, I think. And it's just like downhill, creates a 3, like going really fast. Next one, pull up, and then he gets like the layup at the rim as like to close out the 3 for 1 possession. And
I do think he is awesome. He is spamming the buzzer beaters a little bit. They've had a couple of ugly possessions, while they're definitely hunting the Pritchard buzzer beater, which is you gotta take them to make them, I guess. But that's the only thing is like sometimes those last second offensive possessions, you can tell that he's trying to hunt for it, as opposed to, if this possession had a minute and a half left, he probably would have a different approach. But, that's a small complaint.
I don't even know if you can complain about it because I feel like the percentage is great on these. But yeah, and then Luka Garza has been just really fucking good lately as well. Like that's like the one hole on the roster, it feels like, is that backup big. But he
Gucci Mane's coming. Gucci Mane is coming.
He looked really good in some of the videos I saw, like from Noah and some of the guys on the beat uploading. Looks like he's going to be back soon. I think.
I would bet probably
the first home game back is probably
like
Noah.
I would say like the 5th or the 6th, something like that is what I would think, because that would be right around 4 weeks, which was in the timeline. Yeah. And about 2 weeks ago, they caught him on camera saying he'll be back in 2 weeks. That was on the 20th. So that's in another 4 or 5 days. There's 2 weeks. So my guess is definitely by the Knicks game and probably that. I think they play the Hornets on the 5th, maybe something like that. Whatever that game is on the 5th or the 7th.
Yeah, so they play the Raptors at home on the 5th.
Yeah, that's what I bet it is.
I think so as well. So that gives you 5 games.
Yeah.
Who knows if he plays?
Because remember, there's a back-to-back in there, so Tatum will probably sit, and then I doubt he sits. I doubt he plays in the finale, right? So really, there's
but also does he
like,
play in the finale because like he's still trying to get his?
I don't know.
Back.
I'm almost like you can't risk it on the last fucking game. Yeah, everyone has to sit on the finale. So really, there's only probably 3 or 4 games with Tatum left. You could probably get Vooch with a couple of those and see where that has you leading into the playoffs.
The only reason for everybody to play on the finale is because I will be there.
Okay. Okay, so maybe you play a hat. I'm just saying, like, it would not be a heavy minute.
That's fine.
You can't risk it.
I don't care.
Give me last game, maybe, but finale, like, I'm sorry.
Me the chance.
You have to treat it like
I'll take Ron Harper. I don't mind.
In some Walsh minutes,
some Amari Williams.
Run some Timu Baylor. Baylor runs the Timu Tatum offense and just is your initiator. Could be good.
I will say, like, the hierarchy of guys, I'm scared of everyone getting injured, but when Queta went down and got hit in the face, I think, and he went down for a second, I'm like, where?
Broken nose.
if he goes down, who knows how much trouble in because we'll have Vooch back, but like, I think we'd be in a pretty, like, the finals ceiling probably kind of gets a little shaky, very shaky if you lose Queta.
Listen, let's just please.
So him go down, and that freaks me out. Last thing, standings watch. Some good results today from the standings perspective. It would have been nice if the Knicks had lost, but the Raptors. Here we go. We got the Sixers. The Sixers won. The Hawks won, and then the Magic, Raptors, and Heat obviously lost. And those are the 3 teams that I'm like zeroed in on trying to play in the first round. Is Heat, Raptors, Magic. A bunch of like just mid. The Sixers have like a funky, they could be healthy for 1 round and be good. The Hornets obviously have been incredible in the second half of the season. And like the Hawks, they just kicked the shit out of you 2 days ago. I think I want to put them closer to the Raptors category.
Tatum didn't play, remember.
I know. But like, and I would have them closer to the Raptors group in my brain. But the Sixers and the Hornets have emerged to me. I know everyone's different, and a lot of people don't care about this. But every time this time of year, I get obsessed about the path being as easy as possible. I'm not an adversity addict like some people around here. But I enjoyed the results today because now the Sixers are pretty much a 50-50 chance to be a 5 or a 6 seed. And I would love to see a Sixers Knicks beat the shit out of you.
So you think the Knicks hold on? You think the Knicks hold on?
Yeah, the Cavs don't want it. I watched the Cavs Lakers game yesterday. Fucking embarrassing. Embarrassing. They're not getting up there. It's almost too late, actually. They needed to win that game because the Knicks have the tiebreaker over the Cavs. So I think, like, I looked at the stats, the numbers now. Yeah, the Knicks have a 78% chance of holding on to the 3. Still a 14% chance of getting to the 4. But after today's win, Celtics 92% chance of holding on to the 2 seed. So that's pretty much a wrap now.
Yeah, they probably need another win or 2 before they're
technically, they do. They can't go over.
I think this current stretch, right? The Knicks going 0-3 and you going 3-1 through your OKC, Charlotte, and 2 games against the Hawks to get that lead from, because it got down to 1 in the loss column, if I remember correctly, after the Wolves loss. So you then responded immediately and got that up to 3 in the loss column. So it would basically
need to be like a 4-1 versus a 1-4, I think, for them to overtake us now.
Right.
So just beat the Bucks and the Pelicans, and you're good to go.
And to just definitely not worry about it, beat them on the 9th. Right, like you have a head-to-head still.
Yeah, but do you rest on the first half of that back-to-back?
Is it's Knicks and someone on?
It's Knicks and then Pelicans, and Knicks is probably national TV, I'm guessing. So they probably are not allowed to.
Hold on, I'll tell you. I can't imagine it wouldn't be. So they probably can't, right? They probably can't.
Yeah, but Tatum will won't play in either the second half or the first half of that one. So I don't know how they'll.
So
and
it's
they won't-
it's a Prime Video. Are those national Prime videos?
I think technically.
Oh, okay.
But it's the third last game of the season. I'm guessing it'll be wrapped up by then. I'd be surprised if it's not.
So that's
statistically,
that's 3 games away. So yeah, I mean,
yeah. If you win,
handle,
if you beat the Bucks and the Raptors, it's over.
because you'll have up 3 losses with 4 to play.
Yeah.
And you would have to go 0-4, basically.
Yeah. Correct. Which this
not
team
a math
do.
guy, but I think I got that. I think
this team doesn't do that, basically.
Right.
So,
I mean, they barely lose 2 in a row. I can't imagine. They haven't lost 4 in a row probably in the entire Missoula era. So
yeah. Yeah, they avoided
I think
that
their
in there.
longest losing streak is 3 games.
Yeah. It is crazy how against the Heat, their last game they lost really is game 3 of that series where they went down 0-3 in the conference finals. And since that moment, obviously
17 of 20. 17 of 20.
Crazy.
10 in a row in Miami. Where was that? You couldn't have just made that 18 out of 20. Couldn't have won that game 7 and just
maybe, but it's all part of the story.
I guess so. And I mean, but you almost wonder, it's like, at what point does that shoe drop?
I know it's like it can't go on forever, can it? Well, with this iteration of the Miami Heat, I do not expect it to end in the first round of the playoffs.
They're just too small. They're just too small.
Too small. Like Tyler, they need Tyler Hero to play, because if he doesn't, their offense is not good enough. And even Norm Powell, same problem. He's a seal. So that's not saving them either.
Oh, well.
Greeny,
damn.
Yeah. I hate to see it. All right, Greeny, it's been a pleasure chatting to you on this fine Double J Masterclass evening. Also tomorrow, important plug, Spoonie Ben will have Forsberg on the show.
Oh, what a get. My fellow Worcester, Massachusetts native.
Hell yeah.
What a get.
8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, Forsberg, Ben, Spoonie, first to floor. It's going to be a pleasure. But yeah, man, we're getting down to it. I'll talk to you soon,
Can you
Greeny.
believe it? Can you believe it? 50-something wins,
51.
2 seed. Unbelievable.
I would like 55 wins just because,
Well,
that's
just
pretty
so
cool.
you know, 52 and a top 3 seed is the benchmark of every champion of the last 30 years. So one more win and they cross off. As a superstitious guy, 52 wins and a top 3 seed is every champion in the last 30 years has hit those benchmarks. So,
all right. We'll just go out and beat the Bucks on Sunday.
Yeah.
So we got 2 days off now.
Oh, shit. We got 2 days off. That might be a problem.
The good news is they're tanking. I'd be very surprised. Michael Hilly, I love you too. It's probably a good place to leave it. Everybody, love you. Till next time. Peace.